For those of you that I've met before, you know that it's really great to see you, and thank you for coming out again. Those new ones, I would like to make a few quick introductions of our team who is here tonight. My partner Rod Endel is standing to my right. Mike DeRune and the rest of the Fitzgerald associates here. James Broughton, Eric Overby. So our architects are here to answer questions and present a project that we are incredibly excited about. And I'm really glad that this is such a big turnout. We thought we would just do it one-off as people came in, but it sounds like we should just do it all at one time, and we'll answer as many questions as we can at the end as we walk through.
I've done that more than once.
At Garden Station. So, this project is bounded by Vermont on the north, Beverly on the east, Ardmore on the west, and the metro station on the south. Now, I'm going to focus most of our brief presentation today on the building and not how great Villa Park is, because then we'd all be here all night because I couldn't get it done this fast, because there are so many amazing things about this community and why we love it. I think all of us know that, but we're going to love it more when this thing's here and we finally get to downtown that this community deserves, that we really deserve, which is a downtown and a place for us all to congregate. So there's a lot about this project that associates itself with both the street and internally. So what are we talking about? This project is roughly 230 luxury apartment units, about 6,000 feet of retail. All of the retail faces, Rod, can you point to the retail for me, please? Retail facing Ardmore. And then we have townhome units that face Vermont. So we've done a very nice job of kind of tucking the parking away. It's internally parked. There's roughly 245 indoor heated secured parking spaces that you can't really see from the street, that we've done a very good job of masking and hiding. And the project is really based upon a style of luxury living that currently doesn't exist in this marketplace. So I'll talk a little bit about the type of amenities that we'll see in here. The central courtyard that the building surrounds has a pool house, barbecue areas, gazebos, reading areas, all kinds of little private areas, green space, and really kind of an amazing feel. And what these buildings look and feel like now are much more like luxury hotels than anything else that or a paradigm that you could think about. So think luxury hotel, think about the lobby, which you see at the corner. The lobby of this building will be at the corner of Vermont and Ardmore. The retail is orienting itself further south. What you can see here is we still have an original piece of the project, which was some sort of cafe, food use that faces the village park, open space, place for the community to kind of congregate and gather as things develop over here as well. The pictures that you see in the back give you an idea of the level of finish that the project will see. So what you can see here is a typical kitchen, all stainless steel, full tile backsplashes, quartz countertops, under-mounted sinks. This is a typical kind of living area. So these are images from a project we just finished in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but there's a lot of similar things in terms of level of finish. The custom flooring that you can see that runs throughout all the living area except the bedrooms. Mounts for flat screen TVs. The bathrooms, nothing skipped here either. We have quartz countertops. If your vision's good enough to see how cool that light fixture is, it took me like 8 months to find it, so I have to give a shout out to that little fixture. But it's really a nice one. The cabinetry, the wood, different types of spaces. So this is what we call a mini split. Let's talk about a junior one or a large studio. The mix of product in this project, we're going to have some of these, which we're really excited about. A lot of the market studies came back with a real lack of that kind of space being available anywhere in the suburban market, which is roughly about 600 square feet. full bathroom, full kitchen, sleeping area, like you call it, a small one-bedroom, a large studio in that realm. A lot of one-bedrooms that average around 790 square feet-ish, somewhere like that. Similar features. And two bedrooms, which have roughly 1,100 square feet. There's also a series of townhomes that face Vermont that we call townhomes because they're accessed from the street, but they're roughly about the size of a two-bedroom, roughly about 1,100 square feet. Common area, you're going to see luxury finishes similar to this. This is the lobby in that project, so there'll be an intimate lobby space that's for guests and residents. The level of, this is a small lobby that's in this project, that's a smaller project, but you'll find a fitness area, there will be a lounge, library, kind of more like a hotel lobby that's all fronts on the pool deck over here. I'm racing to go as fast as I can. Rod, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the services the building will provide to residents that once they move in?
Yeah, we're going to have all the latest features. We're going to have storage lockers for their packages. There's a big demand now, a big change now with the internet and ordering online. Where do you put all the packages? So we're actually going to have lockers that they can put the packages in, and the tenants can pick up the packages later. We're going to have an electric car charging station. We're going to have other, this is a LEED certified building, so it's going to be a very environmentally friendly building. We're going to have a pool, we're going to have grill areas, we're going to have a community room, fitness center. We're going to have all the latest features for the residents.
It's really concierge style living, you know, for residents that people live here. We get your package picked up, dry cleaning lockers where you text, the dry cleaner texts you and a number comes up on a code and you open up and your cleaning is in there so you don't have to take things back and forth. You know, there's a lot of really interesting things that are going to be found in this building. The LEED certification, for those that don't know, is really a big deal. This will be clearly the most sustainable building that's ever been built in this region. So that means a very light carbon footprint, and that goes from the design concept today to how the building operates. So we've already, Fitzgerald has already met with the consultant from New Mexico that guides us in this. So it helps inform us into where do we get materials? Are we buying things in Northwest Indiana instead of Portland? Yes, you know what I mean? Do we recycle certain things? How do we minimize the amount of trucks that are on the road? All those thoughts happen now to help take a building from where it is now to a lifetime of being very little energy usage. So this will be extremely efficient from an energy, water usage. That has to do with the building envelope. It has to do with its mechanical systems and all these things that we think about. And that's always been a big part of our company, and it's always been a very important part of all of our designs because we feel it matters, and we find our residents find, you know, it's important to them too. So we find that people make a willing decision to live in buildings and live a lifestyle and lighten their carbon footprint, and this gives them an opportunity to do that that certainly doesn't exist in the market. So, boy, we've raced through everything as fast as we can. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
The discreetly hidden parking, is that going to be above grade or below grade or half and half? Or do you know how deep you're going to be going with the parking, or is everything going to be above ground?
Great question. Everything is basically above ground. And mainly, that is because there's almost an 8-foot grade change from this corner to this corner. So if anyone's gone behind those buildings where the skate shop is and that kind of vacant building, there's almost a berm there. So there's two levels of parking. There's a Beverly level and an Ardmore level, and they're both technically at grade, although part of the Beverly level will be dug out to about here to create enough parking spaces to side of the building. But you're not going to go down. You're going to enter from either Ardmore or Beverly, and you'll basically be above grade for almost all of it, but it's kind of tucked in to the berm because of the sloping of the site.
Who are the intended eventual habitants of this? I'm not sure if you've done a market analysis yet, but do you anticipate people from the city moving out here, or people from this area, or which I guess would go hand in hand with like the price point.
Okay. Another great question. These are really good. So we consider our customer to be we always get asked this question, like how old are they, or what are they doing, or who it is. We don't really find that happens. We find that our customer tends to be somebody who appreciates design, appreciates the environment, wants to lighten their carbon footprint. That person generally tends to be a highly employed person, highly educated, although you don't always know. Someone that lives in the area or loves the area, and it could go either way. One of the beautiful things about this site is we see customers that already live currently in Villa Park that are looking for this type of housing because it doesn't exist. We also see a lot of people that want to be in Villa Park that are not here because this housing does not exist. So when we look at projects across the country or sites that we like, or why do we like it, as I said, somebody stop me if I go on all the great things about Villa Park, because they are tremendous. And if you start with the global ones about the location, project that really sits technically at the epicenter of Chicagoland, equidistant from almost everything, is a pretty powerful site. A site that sits on the metro station that appeals to a person that wants to do either way, that lives in the city and now wants to live out here because they can take the train back and forth and be closer to maybe a lifestyle that they grew up in. So does this person have parents that live in Elmhurst or with Villa Park or Lombard? Maybe, probably, wants to be close to it. So does this person work in Oak Brook or work in O'Hare? I think so. Does this person currently live in Villa Park in a home that no longer wants to take care of a house? And says, I love the flexibility that this provides me. I love this community. It's what I like and know, and I don't want to take care of a house anymore. I don't want to fix the roof. I don't want to mow the lawn. I don't want to handle all those things. So I think that person is there. I think that there's really the employment circles. So regarding not only Oak Brook, but people that say, I'm tired of commuting. That commute is just killing me, going back and forth. So it's a pretty large net. And it's rare in a project that I think you have a realistic pool of potential residents that, and I think everything I just told you is very realistic. I think all of those people will be in this building. And then there'll be some we don't know. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, so somebody said.
Go ahead. Yes.
Price point from what to what?
Price point. One bedrooms. Rob, why don't you walk them through the price points?
The studios we're going to have various plans of studios all around the same size, as Rick said. So they're going to probably average about $1,400 per month. And the one bedrooms are going to probably be around $1,600. And then we have our two bedrooms that are about $2,150 per month. And then we have the 7 townhomes that will be about $2,800. We're going to include one parking space for every unit. We've had a couple of market studies done, and all of them verify the proposed rental structure that we're looking to.
Those are the, as we said, those are starting points.
Are you looking for this to be any kind of tax credit property? Tax credit?
I'm not coughing, but I think I heard a tax credit. And no.
Good.
I'm not even close. Absolutely, positively, no. This is a luxury, state-of-the-art. We are going for the exact opposite end of that spectrum, not even remotely close to it. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, you mentioned LEED certification, and I apologize if you said which level. And if you could just explain again what LEED certification is and which level you're going for
Okay.
at this point?
I'm going to defer that to Michael, our architect, Mr. Daroon. If you could please answer that question.
Sure, happy to.
Maybe a little bit about LEED.
LEED is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It's a program that's managed by the U.S. Green Building Council. And we're targeting right now certified, that's the base level. We will study whether or not we can get to silver, which is the second on the rank of LEED achievement. achieving LEED is done in a number of ways. It's done through energy conservation, reducing the energy usage of the whole building, water conservation, through reduced flow water fixtures, lack of irrigation, or using drip irrigation. We will have no VOCs, paints, and sealants that are used, recycled materials, the concrete, the steel, all of those types of things will contribute to LEED certification. The other parts that will help are some of the other things that both Rick and Rod have mentioned, the electric cars, charging stations. The location itself is a credit because it's right next to a train station. Having zip cars available or car sharing programs available also help. All of those things will help us achieve LEED certification.
So we're pretty aggressive. To answer your question, we go for the most that we can. Northern Illinois presents a lot of challenges from a climate standpoint that make it a challenge to go as high. I'm very proud to say that this project that you're seeing right here reached platinum, which I think you can count the number of buildings on one hand of multifamily that reached platinum. So it's something we're very proud of. We worked really hard to get there. It's just part of the ethos of our company, so we will work with Mike and our team and our Green Insight consultant to get this to be the highest level that we possibly can. And a lot of it depends on, as we see the energy modeling and things start to come in, you know what I mean, to really finalize that. But at a minimum, it will be the most that's ever been done. I can assure you of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is a super great idea. My question is, are these going to always be rentals, or are they going to be kind of conversions in the future, or these will possibly be up for sale, maybe back some of the units?
It is not our intention to sell the units. And not only is it not our intention to sell the units, it is our intention to own the property for a very, very, very long time. So as a company, we are not flippers, so we have been invested in this community for a very long time. We see this as a very long-term hold for us and a long-term operation. So our belief is that these will be luxury, you know, high-end, well-run, well-maintained building, because we plan on owning it for, you know, hopefully ever.
I'm sorry, how many units?
Roughly 230 units.
How many visitor parking spaces will be available?
Visitor parking?
For the retail, you know, you're visiting someone that happens to live there, you drive in, you know, like.
We haven't determined all the final, you know, divvying up what's to what, but the retail will be parked outside the building, so there'll be no retail parking inside the building. Yes?
Will the units get washers and dryers?
Yes. Full-size washer and dryer, which we learned the hard way in this project is about 2 inches in each dimension bigger than an apartment size, and that created a little bit of a hiccup, but we learned from that. So that will not happen in this project. We will frame it the right size, but yes, full-size washer dryers in every unit. I don't think there's a picture there. Yes, go ahead.
And with the footprint that's there, will some of the houses have to be knocked down to make this property?
Yes, so our property here currently has the 2 strip centers here that have the liquor store and kind of the somewhat vacant building directly to the north of it. And then there are 3 duplexes along Beverly, and those will all be raised to create the building. So there's nothing staying in our property, it will all be demolished and the building will come up with that.
When would you start construction?
We are hoping that, assuming we are approved by the village on June 13th, that we would be hopefully shovels in the ground April 1st. 2017. April 1st, 2017. We figure about 18 months of heavy-duty construction, moving people in. We might be finishing a small part of one of the upper floors, you know, punch listing, you know, out, but the ground floor and several of the lower floors will be already moved in and animated during that period. One-phase project, I know that one's asked a lot. 1 building, 1 phase, all being done at one time is the concept. And we're hoping that fall of 2018, residents are moving in. Marketing will begin that spring and summer aggressively out with the trailer and model unit set. Yes.
If this is a privately funded project, is any percentage of the units have to be classified as Section 8?
Where's that coughing? No, this is no Section 8, no tax credit. This is a market rate, and at the cutting edge of technology, of level of finish, of security, this is a building built for the next generation. So this building will represent everything that we have to offer as a development community, as a design community. This is going to be beyond state of the art. So there's no percentage of Section 8. There is no concept that could work. I mean, at $1,600 a month for a one-bedroom unit, what do you need to be making? I mean, you need to be making,
This is luxury apartments.
Yeah, you need to be, we check people's income. You have to fill out an application to live in the building. The application process revolves around not just your financial backing, but your history as a renter, your total history of doing something. So we screen and accurately, tenants have to apply and make sure that they meet all the criteria that it takes to live in a building of this size.
Roughly, you'd have to be at about 50 grand a year for $1,600 a month.
Now, the 2 bedrooms in the townhouses, they would still only be allocated 1 parking spot?
No, like I said, we haven't divvied up how everything gets divided out. So what we've done is we certainly have exceeded what the required parking is based on the zoning, but then there's a marketing amount, like what do you need? So there's percentages and models that we go through about does everybody have a car, who's in the ZIP program, who uses between Lyft, Uber, and ZIP cars. We are seeing a lot of people that use, I think we're showing pictures of our bicycles here.
And being on the train line.
Yeah, and being on the train. So what happens is everybody gets one with signing a lease, and then let's say you want 3 because you collect old cars or doing something. That's happened on a one-by-one basis. So we make arrangements for that. I'm sorry to not neglect everybody on this side of the room. I'm not going to be talking to the other side of the room. We make provisions for having those in our garage, but we don't know. Some people say I want 0 when I sign the lease. Some people say I needed 3, let's say, for some unknown reason, or doing something. So we have a pool that we play with, and that's done on a case-by-case basis for all of the units in addition to the one you get for signed lease.
Do you have like a maximum occupancy based on, like if someone gets a studio or a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
Occupancy in the garage?
No, occupancy of the unit itself.
And how many people can live in a studio?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's a stand, whatever the middle of the parking lot is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever the village, I mean, you mean like moving like 10 people into an apartment or something? No, yeah, right.
If this project is successful, would you do another one in town?
Absolutely.
In the same area, or?
Yes. I think this is going to be, I think this is going to be a very successful project. Rod and I would not have invested the amount of money and time we have into it, but I got to be telling you honestly, this is what I do for a living. I'm as excited about this as anything, and it's interesting. This is going to open up a whole new. I love that everybody's here tonight, that has been sharing with me how much they get the power of this site in and of itself, and it just says what it needs is something more than what it has now. So this is a group that's looking to the future and saying, so I appreciate your comment very much to say, this other side, when these fences go up, and I think we're going to start to see stuff start to happen immediately to create this. I mean, look already with those little corner pediment signs, how nice they look, and just look at those changes and how powerful they are to changing the way this north side feels. And imagine a building like this, and then imagine what that's going to do. I mean, that's how it works, So We feel very strongly that this is going to do very well.
Next question, are you going to be using Illinois labor construction companies to do this, or are you going to have outside come in? Like you said, you just did this project in Arizona?
New Mexico?
New Mexico, I'm sorry. Would you be bringing like outside Illinois construction companies and electricians and plumbers?
I would doubt that highly. I can't imagine a scenario in this particular building. The only time you would consider that if there was some very specialized, specialty, system or analysis that would need a special crew that just went around the country doing that. But in terms of, framing contractors and drywall guys and siding guys, carpenter, I honestly can't think of one that, I think of one that we're not going to get right here.
Everybody.
And I think they're actually really close to here too. There's a lot of trades. This is a very trade-rich area around here too. So I think they're going to be hyper-local actually. I think we're going to get subs and people from very, very close to.
Yeah, we're based out of Chicago, just to clarify, so we are local ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Good point, Rod. Yeah, we are basically, we're locally, we're in Ravenswood, and the New Mexico project was all done with local New Mexico people because we just managed the job. Spent a lot of time on there. Yeah. I'm working my way. If you don't mind, let me grab this side of the room, and I'll get back to that. Hold that thought. Yes, in the blue.
What's the budget for a project like this?
Overall, the budget is roughly 45 million, 46, somewhere around there. 45, 46 million-ish.
What do you expect it to pay out with getting the rent money and everything like that? Do you expect it to pay for itself?
That's a very, well, and from a heart center, I'll have to say as soon as possible, so I can sleep much better. That's the true answer. The real answer has to do, is a very, very complicated answer. So I think what you're asking is, at what point will we not be operating at a deficit anymore? Is a better question. So how about I need to go through these projections? Because that's what there's a point where the cash flow coming in is able to support the debt service. And I think that's what you're asking, as opposed to when we would cash out, because we're probably going to hold this building for a very long time. So
yeah, we intend to hold this building for 20 years plus. I mean, we have no plans to, so we love this development and we want to be a part of it. But in general, as Rick said, it's about a year and a half construction schedule. So we would break ground next April of 2018. So the construction would be done, let's say, the fall of 2018.
2017.
Yeah, 2017. The construction will be done the fall of 2018. And it's about a 1-year lease up once the building's done. So we're talking about it being leased up in the fall of 2019. So at that point, right around that time, the building is cash flowing. And we have plenty of money in our budget for the operating deficit between when the building is under construction and when we're at this lease up.
So roughly about a year, depending on the seasonality of winter, maybe called spring, that spring, like down.
Okay, so I've heard you're planning on doing the construction. I haven't heard, when are you have a plan when you're going to start leveling?
Very good question. And I don't have the exact date. Assuming that we are approved on the 13th by the village, our financing thresholds that we go on, we would know in probably September that we would meet the next financing hurdle, and at that point we would start emptying the buildings and moving to preparing the site. But depending on how it has to do with title and just some legally stuff that you can't do, we would be getting ready, but we wouldn't technically probably start until April 1st, and we would scrape everything and start the site. So we begin emptying, hopefully in the fall. And it's pretty empty as it is now, as everybody knows, unfortunately, and I appreciate the community's patience with us going through this, but there's a few tenants we need to start working with. We need to give them ample time to help. We have to work through how to work with the tenants and find them, things like that. So all that will begin hopefully in September. Pardon me?
Is there anything we can do in the village to sway their thinking?
Sway which way?
With this project, say maybe they don't want to do it.
Can I defer that one to President Bullwinkle? I think this is
She's behind.
How can she sway you to say yes?
You know, the board has been very involved with this, and this has been on the docket now, what, 2007, basically? I mean, for those of you who have been around that long, in fact, this has been going on longer than I've been on the board, which is kind of hard to believe. But that said, you know, when we come together on the 13th, you know, the board will have a lot of information that we've gathered over the course of all of these years, and at meetings like this, hearing from residents like you, getting a sense of what you want, what you like, and you know, really taking your lead. And I think it's fair to say that the board's feeling pretty good about this, and we've got our meeting on the 13th.
So the board's been wonderful in getting a lot of input. So the answer is, these guys are all approachable. This is a board that your neighbors can talk to and say, we want the project. Make sure this happens, you know, and that would be wonderful. So that would be great. Yes.
Wait, well, she's still standing up here.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Not on the spot. What kind of retail would you like to see? And what is Villa Park lacking that's going to be able to fit into the square footage?
That's a great.
I mean, obviously it's not going to
We
be
have
a
our
tire
director of
shop.
economic development here too.
Right,
So,
right.
you know,
Yeah, so we can pass the buck.
No. There's been a lot of talk about this. You know, what I hear a lot as your village president is people want restaurants. Does anybody here agree with that? Want more restaurants?
Yes.
We have some really great restaurants in town, and people want more. We're a real hungry town. and you know, that's one thing that people say that they want. They also want like ice cream stores and more retail, you know, more opportunities to shop in Villa Park. Where's Doc Hensley? There he is. That's one of the mantras that we hear all the time through the Chamber of Commerce and things that we talk about a lot on the village level. You know, what do the people want? And retail, restaurants, places to go, gathering spots, things like that. But I'm going to ask you the question, what would you like to see?
Right.
Above and beyond what I just
Exactly.
mentioned.
And wait, she's hiding behind there.
Yeah, there she is.
Right, and this is where a lot of, I feel that the community is getting together to say what we want. I mean, really, who wants another bank? Nobody. You know, what is going to help fulfill this retail and not go belly up and not be vacant? You know, you can walk down some of our streets and there are a lot of vacant commercial spaces. So it's great that we're going to fill
I can
this
answer
one.
that. Let me answer that. Let me answer that question. It's an excellent one. I think that, and the reason the village can do this is because the village was involved and the village created a TIF district, and the village has done certain things to ensure, to the best that they can, the economic viability of this region. Let's call it the Ardmore district. Of doing it. So. Number one, that's been done already by the village. That's very important, okay? Number two, this is not a retail project, this is a residential project.
But you still have some retail stores.
Hang on.
That's the main level, and when we're walking past it, we
I know,
see something in it.
give me a chance to finish. Is that, because this is a residential project, the ground floor retail is not what's driving the economics. So we have a lot of flexibility based on the TIF district that spurred us to go forward, and the revenue that comes off the top is it gives you freedom to be able to create certain deals, to get certain tenants that but for not would be able to afford this. So that has given us a window to make sure these are not vacant, because we're not hanging out there hoping that we get a certain number, and if we don't, it doesn't make sense. We've worked very closely with the board because this has been important to the village since day one, to create a structure to the best of all of our abilities. We have a lot of flexibility with that street. So if you had that level of flexibility with 230 new people that are starting at $1,500 a month or $1,400 a month for a studio living above you, that opens up a universe of retail that currently doesn't exist in this community. So
We're going to be looking for specific things.
Right.
The cleaners, of course, the convenience, the amenities like that, but they're gonna want places to go out to eat, places to grab ice cream, places to do whatever it is they want to do, you know, from an entertainment perspective, there in that.
So you're obviously well versed in this and understand some of the economics that I'm alluding to. And what it allows you to say is we don't need to go chase a AAA credit tenant and let it stay vacant for 2 years until we get that person. We'd rather have the people in that support. We look at the retail as an amenity to the community and this community, which is part of the greater Villa Park community, as opposed to a separate shopping center deal that we just tried to do, you know, on our own.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Hang on, can I take another one first and circle back, or?
So this is more towards the mayor.
Okay.
The green spot where the gas station used to be,
Which is, yeah, Tyler's.
The town
for those
owns
of
that,
you
right?
Remember Tyler's a few
Yeah.
years ago? That's this space right here.
so what does the village plan to do with that spot? Is it gonna be like a park, or a community-like park, or is it gonna be a playground, or a little bit of both?
Well, we're trying to figure that out, you know, this could be another opportunity to develop, you know, maybe bring a restaurant, for example, something like that. It's a pretty nifty space here, so, you know, kind of a wide open space, so to speak, literally and figuratively, because of the space that we have there to play with now. Originally, it wasn't going to be part of the development, then it was going to possibly be part of the development, and now it's not part of the development anymore. So we have some opportunity there to take a closer look at that, and maybe bring a restaurant or something. Good space. I hope that answers your
Couple
question.
questions, please. Is this a union project?
Maybe. It's certainly a prevailing wage project.
Okay.
So what we're seeing in this product type, we just finished one last year in Chicago, about 150 units. At prevailing wage, you're seeing a lot more. It's not the old two-gate system. There'll be certain trades that absolutely will be union, just because they're the best value and they know what to do in this. This will not be, some disorganized group of us like self-performing and shipping stuff, like trying to build the kitchens by ourselves at night or something like that. So I would say, I think a lot of them are going to end up being union, don't you, Mike? I mean, I think just because they're ending up, when you go to prevailing wage and union shops, they end up being, it's not like a huge disparity and you get certain value of using union, of doing something. So I think, if not all, certainly the major trades, a lot of them are going to be.
Second question, post-construction, do you manage the property or do you sub out for management?
Oh, that, I get to defer to my partner, Rod Engel, asset manager. So Rod,
We're going to be using Greystar Property Management. They currently manage a portfolio of 400,000 apartments around the country and also actually around the world. They oversee about 2,000 units for me in different areas of the country. And they'll be managing this particular building, and I'll be overseeing Greystar. But they are excellent managers. They have all the cutting edge tools, and they're going to help us during the development in deciding, what kind of amenities we're going to provide. Because we want to make sure that we have the latest and the greatest amenities for this building. If there's something that's an upcoming trend that's going to be out there 2 years from now, we want to make sure it's part of this building.
So do they currently manage buildings in this area?
They manage 20 apartment projects in the Chicagoland area, different areas of Chicagoland. They manage one in Arlington Heights for me personally, 280 units. They have a lot of buildings in the city. They've actually done about 12 lease-ups of new construction apartments in the last 4 years in the Chicagoland area.
We worked with them in Evanston on a project. Greystar was the manager for a project we just finished in Evanston. They're doing an outstanding job. We saw it happen faster than this project.
Would there be an on-site presence of the...
Oh, yes. They're going to have a property manager on site, a leasing person, and probably an assistant manager also, as well as on-site maintenance personnel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just the name Greystar, who we feel very strongly is the right player. They're probably the elite property manager in the country for doing this, but it's also how do you budget them? And I think the question that's important to answer is what Rod I can't overstate that enough, is that this our modeling is based on being very heavy on the management side because we believe that's what helps drive rents and keep them up. So a lot of people try to, well, maybe we don't need that assistant, maybe we don't need everything. We've got everything in that budget, so there will be a large staff here. In fact, they're already calling for more space than we have in the lobby and adding more stuff because they look at all the plans. There'll be a full staff that we have not tried to, minimize that budget in any way because our philosophy as a developer is running a building as a Class A, paying those rents, you want to feel like you're treated like with a concierge level of service. So you only get that by having a full staff there that's capable of doing it.
Well, if I could just interject really quick on the property management piece. I have to admit, I put these guys through some rigors because this was one of my concerns, how is the property going to be managed, who's going to be there, how much oversight, because that really plays a huge role in the success of the project, especially one of this magnitude. So I was very happy to hear there's going to be oversight and on-site management, kind of like what you see at Ovaltine. We use Ovaltine as an example a lot, right down the street. We see how successful that property is, and the big part of that is because they have a property management company on site keeping track of things on a daily basis. So just wanted to throw that out there since we were talking about property management.
And the property management, I'm sorry, the occupancy, is it high at Ovaltine?
Oh my God, it's 100, it's almost 100.
Yeah, between 95%, Jan, 95% to 100% occupied, and there's waiting lists for certain.
Yeah, Ovaltine has been near 100 in our business. It's almost impossible to ever get to 100 because people are moving out or moving in, but so it's 97 and something, which often counts as 100 because you might have a lease, but they're not moving in. They've been there almost since the day they've started, and it's proven that what's a really important aspect of Ovaltine is their renewal rate is now in the 80%, which is very high across the industry. So what does that mean? It means they love living in Villa Park. It means they don't feel that it's not amenity rich. They don't feel it's not, I love my life here, I'm renewing, I don't need to move. So those are two very strong aspects. So we like that project. They've done a lot of things right. This certainly is, that project was conceived in 1999, 2000-ish. I mean, this is a different generation building, and it has parking. That's their one Achilles heel is the outdoor parking. So, but they've done very, very well, and they continue to do, and they renew very well every single year, which is a big deal. Yes?
One of the things you mentioned earlier was that the retail is not your focus, it's residential development. One of the things you see in other towns, just Elmhurst to the east, is that they're building enormous parking garages and parking areas all over the place because they want to be able to drive the people who come in for the retail. Ovaltine, has very little lease up on retail in the area. I see one car in the drawings here, but I don't see a whole lot of parking. If we're talking about restaurants, ice cream shops, things like that, that's great if people are going to walk. Where is as somebody asked earlier about parking for visitors or people that are shopping retail. I don't see it. Where is it?
Well, there's two things. Number one, I don't know the numbers change yet. How many metro station parking lot? You have the metro station. One of the reasons TODs work and that TODs tend to get going very quickly near the metro station is because when people come to use those kind of amenities, it's usually when people are not riding the train. So at a minimum right now, you have the metro station parking lot, which is basically adjacent to everything that happens here as a starting point. There's certainly parking along Ardmore, and I know that there has been talk about this might become some sort of additional parking facility to generate things that are happening, but there are certainly opportunities that I know the village is exploring and looking at on either side to support that. But one of the adages in our business is that retail follows rooftops for obvious reasons, right? Because you need the rooftops, you need the rooms. You need people to generate the retail, so it usually doesn't work the first way around. So if this project represents the rooftops, then the retail will come. So I appreciate your forward thinking to say, hey, we got to be able to park these guys. A lot of these sites that will potentially have parking adjacent or with contained within them as well. So, as a developer speaking, there are certainly opportunities to not constrain this area without having to put some sort of structured parking in. But there are certainly, if that day comes that structured parking or something is needed, there is such an enormous opportunity to have it so close with how this ties in right here with all the stuff that's in the metro. There's a lot of opportunities to solve that good problem to have if that becomes a problem, which I certainly all hope it does. Yes, sorry, I started first.
As far as the metro parking, does that mean people have to go there, do they have to pay for metro parking? They go there after hours? After hours, I mean, do they?
It depends when you park and what they do. I believe it's free after a certain hour. I don't know which one it is.
It's not, you don't have to pay overnight,
Right.
Okay.
like that.
Yeah,
That's good. Well, but that's good to know, people need to know that. If I am a commuter, and that's fine, it's good to know that it's overnight, that people can park there for free, which is a huge lot.
Right. And so ways to vitalize that, do something, I don't know the exact hours, but that's how these things, you repurpose the lot when the commuters are not in it.
It is a big, big lot.
It is.
I'll work my way back. I will get everybody.
Going back to the retail space, since you guys are targeting a high income market segment, the retail space that is going to be there, perhaps it's going to be also a high rent. Is there any inclination from you guys to support the existing entities that make a living there? Or it's just going to be out for grabs and Subway is going to show up and open a restaurant?
If you don't mind, that's a very personal question, so I'll answer that after the meeting if you don't mind. I'd be happy to talk to you guys offline. But I would say that that's just kind of a singular question, so if you don't mind, if it's more general, I'm happy to talk about it, but this just isn't the right forum to have that discussion, but I will.
How does this particular space affect the space that's directly to the north of this? This is a very high income or higher rent area, and directly to the north is lower rent. How's that going to affect that area? Is this going to be something that drives that area out eventually, or is this going to be something that?
What, two tough questions back from back, getting real personal here. Okay. I can't answer that question. I don't know. I would say that overall, good development and a diverse type of housing product is usually a recipe for a very vibrant, strong community. So all of one thing is usually not good, So I don't know. We don't control that. I don't want to try to allude to something that I have no knowledge of. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is maybe to add on to that. I think a question for Deborah. I got a feeling this is really going to be popular and take off. Because you think there would ever be a case where you use eminent domain to require some more property around there? Because a lot of people might not want to sell, but it might be the best interest for the village.
Well, I can tell you eminent domain has not been brought up once. At least since I've been involved, I've been on the board almost 8 years, so. That, I can't stand up here and look at you and say that that's been discussed. So, it's not. I'm trying to read if you're.
Well, I got a feeling the developers are going to want to expand on this whole idea. Like in Elmhurst, it's just like, that's my feelings that they have in the future. So.
Good thought. Very good thought.
Right now, it's not even.
Yes, I will get you in the back. We're trying to get everybody first, and the second one's I'll fall back to. Yes.
Two concerns. I went to a meeting years ago. I want to say it was 2013.
It's been going on since 2007. So
Yeah, well,
it's been a long time.
Yeah, I went to one of these years ago. The first concern that comes to mind is the traffic issue already as is. Now, this is going to impact it considering you're adding more residents into the area and already active and somewhat congested street with the freights and the metro area. Seems like every 10-15 minutes we got the freight gates going down and so forth. So is there any discussion? Have you guys done any traffic studies? Do you have any options? Something maybe underground? To go underneath the railroad at some point?
It's a good question because I asked the same question of the developer, and
Okay, so I can answer, there's two, you asked two questions and I'll answer both. We have done a traffic study, and it has been analyzed that it does not present an adverse, reaction because of two main reasons. Number one is split, so you have half the garage never even going on Ardmore, the way we've designed it, so you only have half of the residents that may, and because of residential type of buildings where everybody doesn't leave at the same time or come in at the same time, you have in today's world, you get a much more of a staggered or non-car centric thing, so they do these models and they use them. We have no plans to dig a road underneath the train tracks, so that would be beyond the purview of our development or what was happening just from a development standpoint. Certainly would endorse it if IDOT or whoever controls that street or Union Pacific wants to do it, we would support it, but we would not be doing the underpass.
yeah, that's something, in terms of the underpass, overpass conversation, it's something that's been discussed for years in this town, for those of us that have been here forever, we know that. We, meaning the village, has ramped up discussions, if you will, with Union Pacific. We have a new contact there now. So that is on our radar. But just to manage everybody's expectation in terms of an underpass or overpass, that's a very long-term project. Not to say that it can't be done, but it's something that is going to take a while to develop, and also to try to determine where the best area in town would be to put it.
But they just did one over in Ardmore.
We've got what, five rail crossings, and there could potentially be 3 options potentially, but studies and things of that nature with engineering and all of that would need to be done. So we have over 200 freight and passenger trains coming through Villa Park every day. We all know that. How many times have we been stuck on the train today? So we are aware that that's an issue, and something else that is discussed, especially for the long term.
The other thing is that at the meeting, you asked somebody asked, what can we do to make this project go through? And your response was, neighborhood. I remember that. As things been progressing in that direction, in your opinion, you look across the street, it doesn't really look that much different than it did 3 years ago.
Well, I would say that I'm not sure I recall, saying. In fact, I don't want to challenge you, but I would say that we believe that we're cleaning up the neighborhood, and that this project is a huge, profound movement forward to not only destigmatize the north side of town, but the police calls, the things that currently happen. So I think if that discussion happened, what I believe I said or was doing, and I still believe, because that hasn't changed since we bought the first piece of land there, is that we like this area a lot. We're not the least bit concerned about investing this kind of money in it. And we think that certainly this will only improve whatever sort of police calls or things that are currently happening in the area, will only get infinitely less or better, depending on how you measure it, from this happening and everything that this project spurs. So that hasn't changed in our mind.
And so basically, I looked at the video that you put online a couple months ago.
Yeah.
With this gentleman. Okay.
Al Stash.
Correct.
Those of us who watch it later.
And it looked impressive, and I got excited, and I saw the meeting today, a couple of days ago, and I said, okay, well, if I can get out of work early enough, I'll come. So,
Thank you.
it looks, amazing, it looks impressive.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In regards to, just really quick, to the police presence, if you will, around the train station area, that area has really quieted down. At one time, it was an area that kept our police very busy. We have other areas of town that keep our police very busy to this day. But, we stepped up the patrols, we stepped up visibility, and over time, it's really, and I live on the north side. I don't live far from the train station, so I see it myself every day. And for those of us, I see a lot of north siders here today, probably noticed what I noticed. So it's gotten gotten much better, and our police chief is here somewhere, and he can tell me if I'm right or wrong on that, but, you know, it's really, I think, really improved over the last year or two.
All right, I'm back against the wall, yes.
The green space, is that a piece of the property that you own, or is that village-owned property, the green space that's there?
This green square right here,
Yeah.
this is owned by the village.
Oh, okay.
This is a village parcel.
Okay.
Formerly known as Tyler's.
Yes. Yes. All right, thank you.
A parcel formerly known as Tyler.
Do you expect any impact on the local schools? Or is this more couples without kids that you?
Yeah, that's a great question. These are really low impact buildings in terms of village kind of services and amenities, because you're right, this is a lot of, you know, late 20s, let's say, without children, maybe a couple, maybe as we say, a lot of empty nesters tend to like it, you know, professionals and things. We don't see a lot of, these aren't really designed for families or child, you know, rearing kind of things. So it's a very little, these type of buildings and what they do don't, yeah, we generally don't see a lot of that.
Maybe the townhomes, would you say? There's only
Maybe.
seven.
There's seven.
townhomes.
There's only
It's a
seven.
little bigger footprint,
Yeah.
but.
I've been around about 35 years, about 50 years ago. And when we had overtime on, I was on the road board at that time. It was 75% negative. This meeting here is 85% positive.
80? I think we're closer to 90, 95% positive.
But no, I just think it's time to do it. You've been hanging out for 10 years. Let's get it done. Let's go positive. Keep it going good. And the seniors will stay in town too. They won't have to move out.
That's right.
I think, Dr. Hensky has a question.
How high is the building?
Feet-wise or level stories? Was it feet or stories? Feet. Feet? How many feet is it? Where's the cheat sheet, Jason? I mean, roughly,
So this is 5 stories on the east half of the building, and the west half is 7.
if you say they're roughly 12 feet or 14,
Yeah.
that would be 80.